Woo, is this thing on? Oh, it is. Hi, everybody. My name is Jacob. I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. I will be one of your hosts for this evening's Nerd Nite. Clap, 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 clap. Clap, 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 clap. If you don't clap, I'll just faint. So clap a lot, please. Before we get started, tonight's Nerd Nite, and this is a good title, Martian Moisture, Diabetic Disasters, and Wonky Words. So I'm really excited for tonight's speakers. But before we get there, let's be thankful together. First of all, Ann Arbor District Library would like to thank Live for having us. We are so grateful to be here. We are also so thankful to you nerds, you filthy nerds. Thank you for coming out. Clapping. Very good. Who else am I thanking? Oh, I'm giving a great thanks to our speakers this evening. So we'll have many more opportunities to thank them as well. But before we get to there, oh no, let me introduce tonight's speakers. First, we have Jennifer German, who will answer the question, is that water on Mars? Then, Felix Foucher, DKA, a bad acid trip. Ooh. And then we have Natalia Knoblock. No, the young people today are not ruining the English language, which is good to know. But before we get started, I am here to present our Nerd Nite Minute. Clap now. Thank you. All right, guys. It's been a while since I've hosted Nerd Nite, but if you are a Nerd Nite, if you come every month, you won't be surprised that my Nerd Nite Minute is about gay murder. So I'm excited am I excited? I'm excited. It's kind of a not funny topic. I'm going to try to make it funny, but guys, it's not really funny. Gay panic, tabloid talk shows, murder, and the law. So let me take you back to 1995. This would have been the heyday of tabloid talk shows. I'm talking Maury, Jerry Springer, Jenny Jones, Sally Jesse Raphael, Ricky Lake. And if you are familiar, that's great. But if not, these shows really centered on humiliation. They touched on taboo topics. And I think what's really crazy is that it happened at noon. Like, I pretended to be sick. And, like, I'm at my grandma's house eating a grilled cheese. And then they're, like, fighting in a vat of gravy on TV. And me and my grandma are, like, sucked in. But things have changed. Now celebrities just do all that on social media for us. So that's where we get that. Yes. So yes, this is the Jenny Jones Show, March 6, 1995. This episode is called Revealing Same-Sex Secret Crush. So on the far right, you'll see Jonathan Schmitz. Jonathan Schmitz was brought on the show under the pretense that somebody had wanted to reveal that they had a crush on him. Now, he believed it to be the woman on the left, but it turns out to be his acquaintance from Lake Orion, Michigan, his acquaintance, Scott Amador, who you see in the middle here. So, in a very Jenny Jones fashion, in a dramatic fashion, Scott admits that he has a crush on Jonathan. And at that time, Jonathan actually takes it in stride. He says, I'm heterosexual, but I'm flattered. So yeah, the very next day, and this is either, I don't remember in my research if this was testimony given to a cop or if it was court testimony, but apparently the next day on March 7th, Scott and Jonathan had some beverages and had a night on the town, and they may or may not have connected in a visceral human way, smooching and stuff. However, on the morning of March 9th, Jonathan wakes up to a suggestive note left on his front porch, and at which point he goes to the store, a trailer of Scott Amador, and said, "Did you write this note?" Scott gives him a little smile, according to Jonathan. And Jonathan goes back to his car, grabs the gun, and shoots Scott twice in the chest. Yeah, and I don't know why this makes it hit home even more for me. This happened in Michigan. Let's face it, I don't know. But it's probably like 30 minutes, 40 minutes away, 50 minutes, hour and a half, 2 hours? No. It's closer? Like an hour. I'm so glad nobody did this. I don't ever want to see that. I don't know. The minute you do this, my brain turns just nothing in my head. I go, is that better? I don't know what you're pointing at. Point at your hand. I don't get it. I lived here my whole life. Phew. Anyways, right after the murder occurs, Jonathan calls the cops and says, I just killed a man. He is then convicted of first-degree murder, but his legal team decides to appeal the case. It is appealed, and in his second trial, the charges go down from first-degree murder and life in prison to second-degree murder and 15 years in prison. His legal team utilized something that is colloquially referred to as the gay panic defense. So basically, how do I describe this? Imagine I'm a heterosexual male. Can you? And y'all are a gay man, and you guys hit on me, and I'm like provoked. So it's three things. I'm either provoked, or you hitting on me is such an affront that I have to defend myself from you, or the third thing is you hitting on me made me go into a temporary insanity that then allowed me to hurt you, to murder you, to cause you harm. This defense has been used in 35 states between 1970 and 2020 and all across the globe. New Zealand, New Zealand, Britain, the Philippines. 21 states as of today have banned this legal defense in the courtroom, which means there's 29 states who haven't. But some good news, on June 27th, 2025, the senator from Massachusetts introduced a bill to have it banned federally. I think something specifically nefarious about the gay panic defense is, first of all, it's made up bullshit. Like, that's crazy. But also, it's not used to acquit murderers and other criminals. It's a strategy used to reduce sentencing and to reduce the charge, which I almost think is worse, is more nefarious. This idea that basically that's the court saying, like, yes, you hurt someone, yes, you murdered someone, but like low key, we get it. Like, so we can lessen it a little bit, cause like, you know, and that's really messed up. And I think it's something that's really not known. I wouldn't have known this unless I was gay on the internet, on YouTube. So that's why I had to bring it to you. No? Yeah? Okay. I really struggled with how would this little Nerd Nite minute end, because it ends on a bummer. Not really. But let's keep our energy up. Wait, first clap for me. But let's get some positive energy pumping, because I'm here to introduce our first speaker. Now, coming up will be Jennifer German. You might recognize her from some of our other Nerd Nites. She's kind of our space aficionado. Jennifer is a NASA JPL Solar System Ambassador to Michigan, mother of two, software engineering, medical school educated, hopeless space geek. Let's give it up for Jennifer German.
The passing of the clicker. Excellent, thank you. I'm supposed to follow that? Dang, okay. Wait, what happened to, clap, I'm supposed to tell you, hey, my name's Jennifer, hello, please clap for me, thank you. Perfect. But wait, what happened to the whole why Nerd Nite, how it became a thing? There's usually a story, isn't there? What? Okay, I have two, but I just thought, tradition, a lot of people like it, whatever. I'm not using my time for it. So, I am here to talk about, go get your food, please. Yeah, get it. To talk about, wow, why is this vibrating so much? This is going to annoy the heck out of me. Okay, I can't look at it. Oh, it's the lights? It's not actually, okay. Water on Mars. Is there water on Mars? Has there been water on Mars? Do we know? Do we not know? Is that water on Mars? Okay, so to start, I just want to do a quick poll. How many times have we discovered water on Mars? What do you think? Just yell out some numbers. 4. Okay, so I heard a lot of 4s, 5s, a couple 2s, a 0, a 40. Wait, just happened. We're down. Are we down? That wasn't me. I didn't click, I'm sorry. You can vibrate all you want. It's okay. Please turn back on, please. But we lost lights and everything. 1. Oh, VIP's back up. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, so how long? What she said? What about space speaks to me? How long have I been a space geek? Those are two different questions, and it all started with I very much remember in kindergarten being out in the cornfields over by Weird's Orchard. Right in Pittsfield Township at Wyard's. I'm so sorry. I've lived here forever and I still can't pronounce it right. Wyard's Orchard. At I believe it was 3 a.m. with a pinhole camera. That's where you have a cardboard box and you put a small thing in the top and it helps. My mother took me out there. This had been a school project so that we could see Halley's Comet. So I remember that. That is the first memory, and that hooked me. It was awesome. And then it might have helped that, so here in second grade at Allen School, my teacher, Mrs. Caviani, had been a finalist to be the teacher that went up in the space shuttle. And she was not picked, thank God. But as a compensation for that, her class was chosen for what is now known as the Student Involvement Program. They didn't call it that back then. So we grew the seedlings that were on the shuttle. We had contact with NASA for the semester leading up to that. They sent us crew bios. We had, yay, we're back. Okay, so NASA, science, space, awesome. Okay, so, yes. Okay, so somebody said 40. No, that's way too much. Somebody said 0. Okay, the number's a little higher. I heard a lot of 5s and a couple 4s. So these are all nice guesses. 9. At least that's the number of times that it has been announced, in the media according to my research. So we start way back in the 1970s, right? And I'm not off script, and I'm not shy about it. In 1971, Mariner 9 sent us our first close-up images of Mars. And yeah, right? Look at that. This was high tech. But everybody saw this and was like, oh my gosh, that is a dried up riverbed. I mean, look at it. Isn't it not? So when the Viking landers made it to Martian soil in 75 and started doing tests, scientists waited, bated breath. In 1976, we got the results, and initially, it appeared that the soil contained 0.8% water. However, further analysis showed the soil was iron-rich clay, and that the water molecules were actually attached to iron oxides, so not free water. Well, then other results came in, and eventually, all of the results were deemed inconclusive. So what did we find? Did we find water? Did we not? The answer is we don't know. at least not from the data from the 70s. 32 years later. Woo. In 2002, headlines. My local newspaper ran, found it. This one in London said, water found on Mars. So this was at Mars' South Pole. And the Mars Odyssey spacecraft had detected hydrogen in quantities and densities at temperatures and the underground depth that matched existing water ice state, right? So they didn't actually detect water directly, but hydrogen at the exact everything for it to be water. And this is as opposed to the carbon dioxide dry ice state that is the frost that we see seasonally on the surface of Mars. So I don't know if people online are here, but if you can see this up here in the northern pole, it looks like, you know, snow, frost. That's actually carbon dioxide ice, not water ice. Yes, so we had found ice. It was frozen as water, but you know, okay. It was also underground. All right, December 2006. A research paper is published in Science Journal analyzing data that was gathered from 1999 to 2006 by the Mars Global Surveyor, its orbiter camera. And this paper reports, observations suggest that liquid water flowed on the surface of Mars during the past decade. So there it is, liquid water, right? Occasionally flows on the surface of Mars? Nope. Turns out the process that was actively and currently actively carving gullies on Mars each year is the freeze and sublimation cycle of carbon dioxide. Remember the frost I mentioned on the last slide? Carbon dioxide. Yep, doing all of it, not water. All right, 2008. Shallow radar from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, which I will hence refer to as MRO, showed ice glaciers underneath the Martian surface, water ice, which this is not now the same thing as 6 years before in 2002, because this time the ice is here mid-latitudes, not polar. So we found more ice underground. Still not water. I mean frozen water. Okay. 2011, MRO, told you, found evidence of liquid, briny, so that means salty, water oozing around during Mars's warm season. Oozing is the word. And then disappearing, so presumably freezing solid in the cold season. However, scientists are hesitant to go saying, yes, liquid water, we found it because of that carbon dioxide faux pas back in 2006. So this time, the research paper is published in a nature journal instead of a science journal. So, but media outlets still have a field day with it. Okay, 2013, now things start to get serious. Curiosity rover has hit the ground, and it was built to find water or signs of past water, right? So 6 different papers are published in 2013 in science journals detailing an ancient, almost freshwater lake in Gale Crater. So this is Gale Crater. And what they mean by almost freshwater is kind of salt water, but not really. Like what I was told is a human could drink it if he needed to, he or she needed to, but wouldn't taste very good. So that's what they mean. The problem, though, is the word ancient, because in this case, ancient means that there used to be water there in ancient times, and there's not anymore. So, previous water, not current water. Okay, 2014. This one's my favorite. Curiosity rover drills into a rock, and water comes out. I know. For those of you online, they went, ooh. It wasn't flowing water because it was trapped in the rock for about 3.3 billion years is the estimate. So this is ancient, but still existing. But it was liquid. I mean, until it hit the atmosphere and evaporated. But yeah. Yeah, small detail. It was liquid while it was in the rock. But even more interesting, the water that Curiosity found is 3 times heavier than the water on Earth. So what does that mean? That means that there's 3 times as much deuterium in this ancient Martian water than what we are used to here on Earth. And for those who don't know, deuterium is hydrogen, but with a neutron in it. So hydrogen, instead of being just a proton and electron, it's proton, electron, neutron. That's why it's heavier. No charge, but additional mass. I know heavy implies weight, but that's not what we mean. Anyways, okay, we've made it. 2015. Announcement number 8. Here is the headline, a NASA's press release. NASA confirms evidence that liquid water flows on today's Mars. Woohoo! Yes, you can clap for that. Okay, now, I read the article. And reading this article and knowing Mars's history of discovering water, as we now all know, reveals that this is actually not a new reveal. This is the confirmation announcement of the briny water discovery of 2011 that scientists were too hesitant to go for the go with. But they got the evidence, it is confirmed. Okay, this announcement also added that the water seeps to the surface every once in a while, and so that's why they consider it flowing. It's a low flow, yes, exactly. It's a low flow, better for the environment. Okay, now, this was announcement number 8. Didn't I say there were 9 times? I did. So in 2020, scientists confirm the InSight lander's seismometer discovery of a large saltwater lake under the ice at the Mars South Pole. And this is under the ice that's under the ground. So 2018, this data was actually revealed, right? But it didn't make news. I'm assuming it didn't make news for the same reason that the 2011 news wasn't hyped by scientists, that they wanted to wait for confirming evidence, right? And so in 2020, they had it. Unfortunately, so there is water currently on Mars in a lake down there. The problem is this water source is between 11.5 and 20 kilometers deep, which is 7 to 13 miles. And just for comparison's sake, the deepest of any ocean on Earth is 6.8 miles. So this lake on Mars starts deeper than our ocean's end, which means we can't get to it. They can't even drill that deep on Earth, and we're not going to be, so, but it's there. Any questions? Thank you. Yeah, and this is it's a map of where everything that the United States has sent to Mars has touched down on Mars. Phoenix lander, InSight lander is over there, all the rovers, Viking 1, Viking 2. Yeah, anyway.
How far around circumference is this picture?
Yo, it's 360, yeah. So the Phoenix lander is actually right here.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. He asked, how far around the globe of Mars does this image span? And so I was saying it's 360. So Curiosity Spirit is right here, which would put it right here. Spirit would be right here. And then Phoenix, which is here, then would also be right there. So, but of course, remember also the top is a lot close, just like on Earth. Yo. What are the chances that they're wrong about the depth of this lake, that they've interpreted the seismographic readings incorrectly? I'm not a planetary scientist, so I don't know that I can give you actual valid chance numbers on that. But as with any science, until we actually go do it, there's always a chance. I think the bigger part of this, though, is that even if we could get to it, even if it was higher, the part I didn't mention is that this isn't a lake of water. It is a vast deposit of salt water in porous rock. So it's nothing anybody could actually go swimming in because there's going to be rock in your way.
You're saying that the average weight of water on Mars is about 3 times, or is it that there's 3 times as much heavy water on Mars as on Earth?
So the question was, am I saying that the average weight of water on Mars is 3 times the weight of water on Earth, or is it that there's 3 times as much, what was it? Heavy water on Mars as there is on Earth? And the answer is no, yes, but not. So yes, 3 times as much heavy water in the water on Mars as on Earth. However, that was 3.3 billion years ago, not today. Why do we suppose that was? There was a lot of scientific talk in the article that I kind of understood, and I'm going to try and simplify down. Nope, can't do it. So the belief is that the lighter or less massive water, because of the way the Martian atmosphere was and now is, rose above the heavy water, and then as soon as it hits the atmosphere without any magnetic, without anything, it just evaporates away. Whereas the deuterium-based water sits lower and never made it high enough, and so that skewed the ratios.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, good, I did simplify it.
So out of curiosity, I guess maybe this is a silly question, what is the purpose of trying to find water on Mars, and why does it matter whether or not it's
Okay, out of curiosity, what is the purpose? Why does it matter trying to find water on Mars? What a great question. I'm so glad you asked. So from NASA's perspective, the purpose has always been, we are trying to find out if Mars ever harbored life, ever was able to support life. Is Mars Earth's future? Or is Venus Earth's future? Or is neither? We don't know. But if Mars had microbial life that it looks anything like what we had on Earth, then we can be like, okay, we can now start to see where things are going, and that is bad, right? So that's part of it. But now that we're at the point of seriously considering sending humans to Mars, we need water there now. It's the same thing as the moon. Water is the most expensive thing to send off the planet. But it is essential for humans. And so if there's a source there, this is going to solve so many problems. So we really, especially like with the moon, kind of be like, well, I mean, we could send it to the space station and then send it to the moon, and with recycling systems like on the International Space Station, like maybe we could make it work. And they're like, no, we're just going to go to the South Pole of the moon and mine the ice there and put it in the sun and everything will be happy. But Mars, that's not an option. So we really, really, really want to find water if we're going to send humans to Mars.
One more question. So, should we not send people there until we find something?
The question is, so should we not send people to Mars until we find something? Well, I don't think, can we versus should we? I mean, you're talking to a scientist. We always answer can we, not should we. Now, and that's where I was going to go. He said, well, would you sign up for it? People already have signed up for it. There was Red One, I can't remember what it's called now, but they were like, they were up front. They're like, we are going to set up a colony on Mars. We want, I think, 40 people or whatever it is, and you need to understand that we are not bringing you back. You will die there. And and they had 10 times as many applicants and people, like one of the ones they posted, he was like, I'm ready, I understand, I don't have a family here, I'm a minister, I feel that the first people there are going to need spiritual guidance, and I want to do it. I'm sorry, sir, that the last question was already asked.
Big round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. Let's clap it up for Jennifer German. Thank you, Jennifer. I think the last question was, can we choose who goes to Mars? So we, please, in these 10 minutes, we'll take a little bit of a break. Please use the restroom, go to the bar, get some drinks, tip the bartenders. We'll see you back at 7:45.
And for our next speaker, we're going to be welcoming Felix Foucher to our stage. Felix is an RN and lab rat who is going to be telling us about something that, as a also insulin junkie, is near and dear to my heart, DKA. It is not near to my heart in the sense that I've ever experienced it. It's just near and dear to my heart out of a nerdy kind of interest, which is also what I hope you guys have as your interest. So without further ado, welcome Felix to our stage.
Well, good evening, y'all. I apologize in advance that my presentation will not be out of this world like Jennifer's, but, we'll still have plenty of bad puns. So, a little bit more about me. I have been a nurse for 8 years. I recently started my BSN program because I thought to myself, you know what? Nursing school once wasn't enough. Let me do it again. I hate my life. I've been a home health nurse for the last 8 years. I previously worked in a cardiac unit. I'm a recently diagnosed diabetic as of February of this year, and I have strong feelings both about education and diabetes. Go figure. And I apologize in advance for the bad puns. They never end. So tonight's agenda, I want to keep things short and sweet. I want to go over a brief review of biology and chemistry, a high-level overview of diabetes, and then dive deeper into diabetic ketoacidosis, which really and truly just sounds like something out of Mary Poppins. So, going back to basic. As humans, we're mostly water, right? But we're also salty. Some of us more salty than others. Hi, it's me. I'm salty. So we're a bit like pickles with anxiety. Our bodies exist in a narrow acceptable range for pH or acid-base balance, and our electrolyte concentration, sodium, potassium, all that good stuff. There's also a joke about it being a Felix scale. When I was a chemistry major many moons ago, that was the running joke, and not just because Starbucks can never get my name right. But as humans, we like to exist in that 7.35 to 7.45 pH. We are slightly basic. The jokes about pumpkin spice lattes and infinity scarves write themselves. But we like to maintain balance. At a high level, again, I apologize for any biochem nerds in the audience. I am going for broad strokes. But at a high level, our bodies maintain that pH through two systems, our kidneys and our lungs. Our kidneys can excrete or retain bicarb, and our lungs can excrete or retain carbon dioxide. So, as a PSA, yes, I'm a diabetic. No, I do not think carbs are the Antichrist. I will die on this hill. Our bodies need sugar to function, especially our brains. There's a reason why sugar is considered addictive and why when I bite into a piece of garlic bread, I hear a chorus of angels singing. Literally, if we do not eat enough carbohydrates, our body will make more through a process called gluconeogenesis. Thank you, liver. It will take non-sugar sources and make them sugar. We are that tuned in to using sugar for fuel. Unfortunately, our bodies also need insulin to use that sugar. It's released from our pancreas. And as you can see, I am a member of the Lazy Pancreas Club. The goal for anybody is to have a healthy range in their blood sugar, typically 70 to 140, higher after you ate, lower when you're fasting. It's going to depend on the lab. Cool story, bro. So, I don't want to sugarcoat this, but I do want to do a brief overview of diabetes. Again, broad strokes. At its core, diabetes is a disease of insulin, not of sugar or carbs. There are multiple types with multiple treatments. Again, broad strokes. But if you're looking at somebody who's a type 1 diabetic, I want you to think, let's do shots. Because your pancreas secretes zero insulin. It's typically autoimmune, and your pancreas is just like, I'm out. And you are going to be insulin dependent for the rest of your life. Type 2 diabetics, hi, I'm type 2. I want you to think resistance is futile. It is usually some combination of insulin resistance, meaning your body can't use the insulin it's got, your body's making cruddy insulin, or you're just not making enough. So that's why some folks with type 2 will need insulin, some won't. It depends on the situation. There's a strong genetic component. The vast majority of diabetics are type 2. So, What happens when you're too sweet? Literally. Most diabetics will tell you they know exactly when their sugar is really high because they're suffering from the 3 Ps. Ironically, the first one being you are peeing all the time. Typically, when your sugar is above about 180, glucose is what we call an osmotic diuretic. So when your sugar is high and about 180 is usually that threshold, your kidneys are like, I'm out. I can't keep holding on to this. I got to let it go, and water's going to follow. So you are going to pee constantly. And because you're peeing like a racehorse, you're super thirsty because you're getting dehydrated, and it can lead to kidney problems. There's a reason why diabetics are prone to kidney disease. And then the last P, polyphagia, where you're increased hunger, because your body is like, I can't use sugar for fuel. You got to feed me. Not realizing that that's not the problem. It's I can't use what I got. So, ketosis. This is also the basis of the keto diet, which, by the way, was originally thought of as an experimental treatment for kids with seizures in the 1920s. That's a whole other nerd night. But normal bodily process where you burn fat for fuel instead of sugar. Cool. In low levels, like when we're fasting or exercising, that's normal. That's healthy. But it can occur in diabetics when our sugar is high and can lead to diabetic ketoacidosis, which is a life-threatening medical emergency. So the problem with burning ketones, they're very acidic. In excess, they can drive that blood pH down, make you more acidic, put you closer to neutral. We like to be a little basic. And additionally, that increased urination can lead to make you dehydrated. So you're going to have problems flushing out your lactic acid, normal byproduct of your metabolism. So you have acid on acid on acid, and it's a bad acid trip. So what's the big deal? My pH is down. So what? As our pH drops, electrolyte imbalances can occur, particularly potassium. This can lead to problems with your muscle contractions, including your heart. Diabetic ketoacidosis can make your heart stop. I don't know about you, but I like when my heart beats. It makes sure that I'm alive. So initially, it's not uncommon to see high potassium because as your pH drops, potassium is going to leach out of your cells and into your bloodstream. That's bad. The problem is, as you're also peeing constantly, you're flushing out that potassium, so you now can lead to low potassium, which is also bad. Again, your heart needs to beat. As far as your symptoms of DKA, and I'm sorry, and rest in peace, Whitney Houston, again, the 3 Ps, you're going to see fatigue, nausea, vomiting, weakness, muscle cramps due to those electrolyte imbalances. And in the later symptoms, I have seen many a patient with ketone breath. It is the most sickly, sweet, disgusting thing I've ever smelled. It's like nail polish remover mixed with rancid fruit. It is so gross. I've had people compare it to juicy fruit, and I'm like, do not insult juicy fruit that way. You may also see confusion and lethargy, blurred vision, weight loss, seizures, and coma. If you ever heard of somebody in a diabetic coma, it's probably DKA. So I'm going to pull up a short video here. But to compensate for our low pH and that impair our kidneys not being up to function, our bodies can trigger Kuzma respirations. Rapid breathing to breathe out more of that carbon dioxide. And the breathing out that carbon dioxide is one way of increasing our pH, particularly, again, when your kidneys aren't up to snuff. But I want you to pay attention to how this kid is breathing. Do, do, do.
Okay, so Mom's letting me capture some video
Yeah,
here.
I've got range.
This gentleman just
Notice
came in
that
from
you can
the
see
nutrition
his
office.
chest flailing. His intercostal muscles, those muscles in his rib cage, are
breathing.
pushing and pulling because he's trying to get as much air in and out as physically possible. I thought about demonstrating this for y'all, but I will be blacked out on stage.
He's pretty severe. He's had some weight loss, and then he's been having some vomiting.
I don't think so. He had pre-existing diabetes, right?
No, this
Oh,
is
this
new.
is brand
This
new.
is
Oh,
new,
new.
brand new.
Gotcha.
He's had no prior documentation or diagnosis of DKA or diabetes.
Like he's drowning on dry land.
I smell little ketones.
Pretty small one.
Yeah.
It's not great. So unfortunately for the treatment for DKA, you're in the ICU, baby. You're talking insulin drips because we've got to bring those sugars down, and insulin's also going to help get your potassium back into your cells where they belong. The problem with that is that you need really close monitoring of your electrolytes, especially your potassium. You're on a cardiac monitor, you're on IV fluids, and typically treatment is gradual because there's a high risk for complications. Because again, insulin's going to help bring that sugar down. That's great. It's also going to push your potassium back into the cells, which can be a problem if your potassium's already low. You're just going to make that bottom out that much harder. So that's why it's really important to do this gradually. Typically, treatment takes a few days, maybe a week, and you can't give potassium quickly, both because it burns like acid, and fun fact, a potassium bolus is actually part of the lethal injection and cocktail. So if you're bolusing potassium, you have a resident ordering a potassium bolus, tell them to page Dr. Kevorkian. As far as preventing DKA, obviously the goal is optimal blood sugar control. It's more common in type 1 on diabetics. It can happen in type 2, especially if they're on insulin. Unfortunately, insulin is a very fragile protein, and it typically has to be kept refrigerated, and it has to be given by injection. You can't take it orally. It will be destroyed by the stomach acids. And I have seen plenty of patients rationing their insulin due to those high costs, and that can lead to major deficits. So, questions, comments, concerns? And if there's anybody else here tonight in the Lazy Pancreas Club, I feel your pain. Everything is carbs and everything hurts.
Can fasting help?
Can fasting help? I have known plenty of diabetics who swear by it and do intermittent fasting and think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. If it works for you, great on you. I am the kind of person that there's a reason why in my wedding vows as to my husband, we wrote our own vows. I apologize in advance for the things I say when I'm hangry. I'm not a nice person when I'm hungry. Is jackfruit good for diabetes? Sure. There are going to be some people who tell you, oh, don't eat fruit, it's too much sugar, it's too many carbs, and it's like, yes, but it also has fiber and minerals and nutrients and other good things. And to me, again, I am a big proponent of carbs are not the bad guy, they're not the Antichrist. I still regularly consume them. It's moderation because like so many things in life, the dose determines the poison. Why is insulin so expensive? Capitalism. The founders of insulin in the 1920s purposely did not patent and the synthesis for human insulin because they wanted to make it accessible and affordable and not have any access to barriers to care. The pharmaceutical companies saw it as an opportunity to rake in big bucks. On average, if I remember correctly, a vial of insulin costs about $1 to make, even now, because it's the same process they've been using for a century. But again, corporate greed. So I think I heard you think somebody is in DKA, what kind of symptoms are you going to be describing to your care team to say, hey, I think this might be DKA? Really the big one for me in the times I've seen it for my peeps, you're seeing those Kussmaul respirations, you are seeing sky-high blood sugars on their meter, You are seeing confusion, lethargy, fatigue. They are just not themselves. And especially if really when you're getting to that point of like altered mental status, that's when you're like, something's wrong here. But a lot of that, even if per person, like their sugar is just running high. For my agency and home care, we tell our patients, if you're above 400, go to the ER because your risk for DKA is so high. You really need to be treated in a facility and not at home. Yeah.
If you have run across somebody that you believe is having it, what should you do?
Take them to the ER. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go directly to the emergency room and seek medical attention. Hustle to the ER. Because at that point, your body is so out of sorts, or it's that like, if your sugar is running a little high, by all means, drink some water, go for a walk. That will help bring that sugar down. But once you're at that point of, okay, now my body is in failure mode and trying to keep me alive, it's a medical emergency and needs to be treated that way. Yes, Ms. Van Rampen.
I heard you say that diabetes can contribute to kidney problems.
Mhm.
Can kidney, like someone with chronic kidney problems, be more susceptible to developing type 2 diabetes?
So the lovely Erin asked us if diabetes is a precursor for kidney disease, can a person with kidney disease then become at a higher risk for diabetes? Not necessarily. There's definitely some overlap, up and especially because the thought for type 2, it's still not really well understood. Again, there is a strong genetic component, but a lot of that is still contributed to diet, lifestyle, etc. So a lot of the things that can put you at risk for kidney disease or give you kidney disease can also be factors that could lead you to become diabetic or have any number of problems.
Can I ask a question? Is type 2 diabetes highly related to lifestyle and eating choices?
Is type 2 diabetes highly related to diet and lifestyle choices? Yes and no. Again, there is a strong genetic component. There's a strong genetic component on both sides of my family. But again, you'll have people who are perfectly, very active, they maintain a normal healthy weight, air quotes, and they eat right, and they can still become diabetic. There's so many factors that can lead into it. So I think for developing it, yes and no. For dealing with it and maintaining it and addressing it, the lifestyle is definitely a big piece of it. There's a reason I go to the gym at 5 a.m. before work. And it's because I hate myself. Sure. Cool.
All right, so folks, it is back to break time. Let me also throw one little quick aside here, not to steal Felix's thunder, but as a former paramedic once upon a time, if you ever question what is going on with a person, don't try and figure it out yourself. Call the 911. However, what you should do right now is call on your favorite bartender, get yourself a refill, and come back here in 10 minutes.
tell you, standing in the back of the room and looking out over Nerd Night during the break, what a neat room full of nerds connecting with other nerds, people chatting, like, not that I'm totally eavesdropping, but like, y'all are not just talking about nothing. You're talking about real things. And it just, it warms this librarian's heart that this gets to be a thing we do every month. And we're not done yet, folks. We have one more great speaker tonight. I am so excited to welcome Natalia Knoblock. Natalia is a professor at Saginaw Valley State University and has been researching and publishing on the issues of linguistic prejudice, language of conflict, verbal aggression, and etc. She is the editor of 2 scholarly volumes, and as a Fulbright scholar, she taught a course on linguistic human rights at the National University of Columbia and has served as co-editor of the Journal of Language and Discrimination. So if you're wondering if Natalia has the kudos to be giving this, she does. Credentials, that was the word, if she has the credentials. Oh, I caught it in the end. Phew, I know. Using the wrong word while introducing a word person. Ooh. Oh, that's so cringeworthy. Don't tell anyone. It's being recorded. Oh, well. Anyways, join me in welcoming Natalia.
Thank you. Okay, clicker. All right. Talking about saying a wrong word. I'm a non-native speaker of English, and when I'm really tired or very nervous, I lose my English. The funny thing is that I don't get my first language either, and so I'm speechless. Just imagine how well it works at job interviews. Especially if I catch myself on some kind of, I don't know, lexical or grammar mistakes, and then I get even more nervous, and then it just goes downhill. Okay, so let me start with a question. All right. Please wave at me if you are irritated by young people's use of text talk. Nice. Okay, thank you. Now, clap, please, if you think that you are speaking good English. Nice. Okay. So, well, prepare to throw both of those ideas out, because I'm going to tell you that none of this is correct. Ooh, okay. Put it on the computer. All right. So, I'm going to try to persuade you that the young people today are not ruining the English language. Okay? All right. So, these are the things that I'm going to cover that every generation worries that youth are ruining English. So we're not the first ones, and we're not going to be the last ones either. Language purists lamented corruptions of English for ages, I mean centuries, and probably thousands of years. We just don't have a written record of that. But we probably could go to some cave with cavemen, and they would be whining about the different that the young people were doing at that age. Okay, so modern critics cry about texting, emojis, and slang, but somehow English is still okay. I wonder why. I wonder why. Because we have heard the same complaints for centuries. All right. It even became a global language somehow. I don't remember when it happened, but I really don't understand how it happened, because English has been being ruined and ruined and ruined and ruined and ruined and ruined. There should be nothing left. Okay. All right. So first thing, language is actually natural. I'm going to try to show you what language that you're talking today used to be about 1,000, just over 1,000 years ago, and then throughout the time. Such words as selfie, Google, they may irritate us. There are people who still complain about defriending or Googling something. Can you even believe that? Don't you use those words now? They were new just in recent times. Okay, all right. But the word slang used to be slang. It was an innovation sometime, I believe, in late 19th century. So the word cool, do you use the word cool in the meaning great? Oh, you're all users of slang, because that word is only about 70 years old, because it was it entered the English language in the 1950s. And of course, people complained about it and found it disgusting and horrible and terrible and no good and very bad. So grammatical changes also happen. And they happen because they're needed to enrich expression. Otherwise, why would people do that? If you struggled through Shakespeare in school, when your teachers tortured you with that, did you notice that Shakespeare used double negatives? In fact, he used triple negative and quadruple negatives. Oh my goodness! We should throw him out. We should give him a failing grade. Instead, they're teaching kids this person who couldn't speak good English. Oh, maybe he did. I don't know. Also, another thing that was happening at approximately in the time of Shakespeare is the introduction of asking questions with do, does, is, and all of those things. Before that, for approximately 1,000 years that we have actually recorded some written language, questions were asked by putting the verb in front of the subject, such as, like you Nerd Nites? That was a normal, grammatically correct question. Or even keeping the same word order, just using a different intonation. Now imagine this character called William Shakespeare recording both the correct and incorrect use of his time, because at his time, do you like Nerd Nites was actually slang. All right, okay. So change is actually vitality, it's not decay. There are two schools of thought when it relates to language. So one is nicknamed prescriptivism and one is called descriptivism. So when you're told ain't is not a word, I always wonder, what is it? Is it like a chair or purple hedgehog or what? I don't know. Don't split infinitives. I wonder who came up with that idea? Or especially don't end sentences with prepositions. Try to do that in English. You will sound like an alien. Okay. So prescriptivism is belief that language can be good or bad, correct or incorrect. Language is so much under the power of caprice that its rules are frequently violated, but even men of learning without any necessity, and so on. Okay? There is another complaint, and look at the years. We're in 18th century. It is of the utmost importance, both in speaking and writing, to observe the rules of grammar. Now, what is a rule? Did you ever think who came up with rules that school teachers taught you? Did that teacher come up with those rules? Yes? All right. Well, okay, teachers do have, some of them have sadistic moments, especially when they are so mean to their students that they clap every time a student says like. when somebody told me about that, I just wanted to go and see the teacher and do something like that. So this is horribly mean. Or somebody not letting a student go use the bathroom just because they ask, can I use the bathroom? For Christ's sake, the same teachers use the word can in the meaning of permission in all other sentences. They ask, can I borrow your pen? They don't say may I, because may is actually dying out in that meaning. And it's fine, because it started with some other meaning and then later acquired the meaning of permission, and now it's losing it. Big deal. So descriptivism is an approach to language when people do not impose any rules. They understand that rules are just recording of patterns of real life usage. Whatever people say, however people say it, is the rule. And when people change the way they speak, the rules also change. And it's actually normal. Okay, so this is probably famous, right? So that this new technology of writing was making people forgetful and lazy. The Latin errors people whined about something unrecognizable. Sorry, I think I messed up on this statement. Conventions in the Romance languages. Oh, they became actually unremarkable conventions in today's Italian, French, and Spanish, which are descendants of Latin, of course. This is my favorite, because that's, look at the year, it's 1440. So if you think that it's just this young generation destroying the English language, they can't. It already was destroyed in 15th freaking century. So what was going on in 15th century? In 11th century, Britain was invaded by Norman French. And guess what language was the language of court, language of nobility, language of the royal court? It was not even English, it was French. So if today you try to count the percentage of words in texts on the topic of governance, literature, and especially law, you can find up to 70% of those words that are of French and therefore Latin origin, not of Germanic origin, like a lot of our language started with. All right, so this corruption of Englishmen, this is translation, by the way. I would not be able to understand what he wrote, and I would not be able to read it if I tried to read it in the original. So this is translation. So in this corruption of Englishmen in their mother tongue began, as I have said, in the everyday admixture of first Danish, then Norman, and was greatly augmented and increased after the arrival of William the Conqueror. And seeing this, the rural people saw that they might seem to be more esteemed and honorable and more easily open to acquaintance of the worthy and the great, and they abandoned their mother tongue and labored to be able to speak French. Thus, in the course of time, barbarized them both. And they spoke neither good French nor good English. And that's 15th century. Okay. All right, so we have, oh yeah, the ironic thing is he, in this text, he uses French words, of course, borrowed words of French origin. And also admixture he was ranting about is the language that you and I are speaking today. All right, so now let's sleep to 19th century. The English language is degenerating into a jargon of slang with every mechanic. every mechanic. Ooh, how dare they coming up with words? Oh no, this only belongs to people of higher rank, of course. We have long been aware that language is in danger, and that has been early 1900s, or first quarter, threatened by perversions of meaning, improper intrusions, and slovenliness of form. And as recent as 2010, the English language has been battered, bruised, disfigured by generations who think that standards don't matter. Doesn't it sound like things that we hear today? Yeah, but let's look back and back and back. And it's kind of the same thing over and over and over. How is it possible for English to be still here? All right, so let me take you a little bit back. So that would be the earliest records, written records that we have are from 7th or 8th century. And this is what the script looked like. Can you read it? And it was completely different language. You would not be able to understand it. So let me give you a little taste. All right, so this is English. Ochtere sede his klaverde Alfrede Kuninge that he elra Northmana Northmes Bude. What did I say? Okay. He quest that he bude on them lande northwardum with westse. He sede thean that land the Swithe land Firwum, Stovum, Stutemelum, Wiceth, Finas. On Juntode, on Wintra, I don't know how to say 71 in Old English, so I'll just skip it. On Sumera, on Fiscathe, Bibtherese. Don't ask me what it means. All right, let's fast forward to something that's after 1066, which is the date of Norman conquest. All right, so Middle English, spelling is still largely phonetic. We knew that there were no words that were spelled differently from how they were pronounced. And we actually can find dialectal differences in Old English and in Middle English. All right, so lots of French borrowings, so language is again in flux. This is the text. And Juan Asawek Hevolve Never Fine To, and so on. It kind of looks a little closer, but do you understand it? Can you translate it for me? Okay, because, yeah, I'm lost. So let me try. And so befell Juan Common was the tomb of April, Juan clothed in the Mede with neue grene of lusty ver the prume, and swolte smellen flores huite and rede, in sondre wises shroud, and so on. I'm tired. Okay, all right. Let's go to early modern English, and that is Shakespeare. So Shakespeare is not Old English. Old English is actually quite a bit older. So early modern English, lexical and grammatical changes, including asking questions with special auxiliary verbs like do you like, Nerd Nites, are you happy, and were you there when it happened, things like that. So the great vowel shift is the reason for our spelling being so interesting. That's a mild word for stupid. So, so great vowel shift occurred over the course of about 400 years, and it changed pronunciation very significantly. from A, the sound, the words with that sound turn into words with I. That's a pretty dramatic change, and so on and so forth. However, people, for some crazy reason, refused to update the spelling. So today, we are spelling Middle English and speaking Modern English. Go figure. All right, so some of the text: the stars move still, time runs. It's not time yet, it's about tame. Tame runs. The clock will strike, the devil will come, and Faustus must be damned, and so on. All right. Well, welcome to today. So, lots of borrowed words. Less than in Middle English, though. Middle English probably was the biggest time of borrowing words from one other language, from French. Say it again? No, I'm sorry. This is just a picture. You all know what is OMG and then greater and things like that. Or talk to you later as TTYL and so on. Okay. I would like to give you a taste of what it's like. So I will play a little audio, but I will turn the screen off for it. I need help. Thank you. So how can I click the link without showing it?
We just need.
Oh.
The clicker is how we turn off the screen. Screen is off.
Yeah, but now I can't see anything. All right, wonderful. And the screen should be off. Oh, okay.
Fader ure, thu de erton heavenum. Si din nama je halgod, tobe kuma din riche, je wurde din willa. Un erdon, swa on heavenum. Urna je dai chwamle kan slaaf, sule us to die. And for juvos ure gultas. Swa we, for juvad urum gultendum. And ne je lardo us un kostnunge, aka lusus of uvele. So liedje, ure vader.
Okay, all right. Who can tell me what you just heard?
I heard the word die.
Somebody died, okay. All right, any other guesses? All right, it was what? It's the Lord's Prayer. How did you guess? A little bit of familiarity, a little bit of German. I'm not sure that's all that close to German, but let's listen some more. Oh, heaven, yes, very good. All right, so let's listen to the same text.
in heavenes. Hallowed be thy nama, the kingdom come to, be thy will done, in earth as in heaven. Give to us this day our bread, over other substantia, and forgive to us our debts, as we forgiven to our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Our Father.
Okay, all right. So we skipped about 500-600 years, and it became a little more guessable, right? Okay, let's go to early modern.
Which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Okay, all right. So we just went from about 7th century to about 12th, 13th century to about 17th century. And it becomes a little more understandable, but it still sounds different. Okay, so yes, let's try. Yeah, let's try to go to slides. Thank you. All right. So slang is okay. Digital abbreviations show creativity. It's not decay. Singular they is now standard. People understand it. It's perfectly fine. Just like you are talking to one person does not make anyone mad. But why is they are talking about one person is still objectable? I can't understand. And so young people are okay. Criticism of your speech is discomfort with cultural change. That is maybe not good, but it's normal, so it's okay. But I want to make sure that I show these points, and I try to tell people that language is not a marble statue. If it does not change, it means the language is dead. Do you really want English to die? Then change is something that we must accept. English has survived radical transformation. Youth enrich and sustain English for the future. And young people, if we have any in the audience, they should respond to accusations of ruining English with, "It's impossible. You passed it on to us already ruined." Questions?
We do not have time for questions. I'm sorry. Live has an event after us. So we do not have time for questions. But when we clean up, talk to Natalia.
All right.
So I do want to let y'all know, if you're looking for any more fun, science-y things, if you have not yet heard of Science Cafe, it's another thing at a bar where you can go to and learn about it. And their next session is on Wednesday, September 24th. It's from 5:30 to 7:30. And then, you know, if you need more me, you can come to the session in October, because we're talking about libraries, and I get to talk about neat things about our library here. But even more important than those two, put next month's Nerd Night on your calendar. That is Thursday, October 9th. We're going to have a great night here. And also remember, if you've got a Nerd Night talk in you, come see me. Go to our website and apply, because we are working on speakers for future months. See y'all next month.